Today we're going to discuss DXA body composition scans. A lot of patients have asked about this and whether this is a good way to look at progress year to year, and I do think it is a good way to do it because it does break down your body fat and lean muscle mass per each region. So I wrote my numbers down from 2024. I've actually gotten this done in 2023 and 2024, both in December and then also in December this year. So same timing every year, and I try to do it around the same time of day as well. Now, you'll see on my percentage fat numbers, my numbers have greatly declined from last year to this year, and these are just from 2024 numbers. If you look at my total fat mass, I'm at 20.6 pounds, and my lean mass is 99.9 pounds, with a weight at 127 pounds. So what's interesting is based on the BMI scale, I am normal, close to overweight. And I know people always want to look at the number on a scale. And this is again why I urge people not to look at the number on the scale, because you really want to have good percentages of lean muscle mass and lower fat mass. And it does not matter what you weigh. And you're definitely penalized if you are shorter with more muscle mass. Now, you'll see down here, my body composition trend shows my total mass numbers did go down over the last 2 years. My fat pounds also went down over the last 2 years, and my lean muscle mass actually went down a little bit last year from the year before, but it's greatly increased this last year. So I actually have lost 5 pounds of fat over the last year and have gained 2.5 pounds of muscle mass. Now on this page, the important numbers to look at is body composition. So you'll see my body fat percentage based on 2023 was 23.3, went down to 19.7, and this year it's at 16.1. Now keep in mind, this number is not the same number as a bod pod or an underwater weighing, as those do not consider essential fat stores, and they can sometimes underestimate percentage fat, especially if you have more lean muscle mass. Now, optimal fitness is about 16 to 22 for body fat percentage, and you do have to be careful about having too lean of body fat, especially as a female, as it can compromise your hormones. Now, when we look at the limbs lean mass to height, so this is basically your arms and your legs and the muscle mass. The concern that we have is for people to become sarcopenic, which means having really skinny arms and legs and having all of their mass really in the center part. So if you look at the lean muscle mass, I actually increased my muscle mass, and goal for women is over 6 and goal for men is over 8, and I'm actually at 8.16, so I actually hit the goal for men on lean muscle mass. Now, when we look at total fat mass, again, this is just another breakdown of ratios. You can see my fat mass numbers decreased over the last 2 years. If you look at my lean muscle mass, I had a slight dip last year and then an increase this year, so that even though with my weight loss, I actually had a significant amount of increase in muscle mass. And if we look at these numbers here, this just shows ratios of trunk fat to leg fat, and the ratio numbers you can also see have come down. And also for the fat mass, it's just based in pounds, so really kind of the same picture as here. You can just see those numbers have gone down. Now, as we look at the regions, what's interesting about the bone mineral density in each specific region, now this is not like a bone density scan that you get when you're postmenopausal, so there will be no T-score readings. What this gives us is actually the total grams per centimeter squared. So if we look at your skull, our skull goal is over 2, which I clearly knew I was hard-headed, but at 3.135, I am exceeding the goal. The legs goal for women is over 1.25, and I'm here at 1.430. And then the spine goal for women is over 1.15. I'm at 1.823. So basically, I have no concerns about osteoporosis, and my bone mass in my spine is actually close to that of power men and strong men competitors based on what the technician said when we reviewed this. So the strongest power man that he's ever seen in North Carolina was at 1.9. Power lifters can really range about 1.4 to 1.6. So this is a combination of good genetics, but also lifting heavy. Now you'll also see I increased my bone mineral density. So I had a little blip where I lowered it from 2023 to 2024, and then an increase of 1%. So you can increase your bone density by lifting weights and training. Now on this page, this is again another summary. We're just looking at my decrease in pounds. So I lost 9.4 pounds in the last 2 years, 2.4 pounds in the last year, but in this time period, I had gained lean muscle mass in the last 2 years of 1.9 pounds. And actually in the last year, because I had lost a little bit of muscle mass last year, I increased it by 2.5 pounds. My fat mass in pounds have decreased by 11.4 pounds, and I've lost 5 pounds of fat mass in just the last year. So you can gain muscle and lose fat, and then the weight on your scale may not change much, and that's why it's sometimes helpful to see this breakdown. Now, android to gynoid. Android is an apple shape, which is not what we're going for. Gynoid is more of a pear shape. So this determines metabolic health. The more apple-shaped you are, the greater risk of diabetes and cardiovascular disease. Now, for women, our goal is less than 0.86 and smaller than a 35-inch waist. For men, it's going to be less than 0.95 and smaller than a 40-inch waist. These are too high, if you ask me. But the ratios you can see here. So in 2023, my ratio went from 0.73 down all the way to 0.52. And really, that pear shape is at 0.5 to 0.7. And the apple shape is going to be over 0.9 if you're looking at this AG ratio. And the cool thing about this scan is that it does look at visceral fat. Now, your visceral fat goal is going to be under less than 2 pounds. My fat mass is actually 0.37 pounds in my visceral organs. So basically, very, very low percentage, which means not likely fatty liver, not likely great metabolic risk, not likely great cardiovascular risk or cancer risk with that. And last page, again, another summary. This body composition was again from the first page, but looking at fat mass ratios. If we're looking at trunk fat mass to total fat mass, our goal is less than 0.55. Our legs fat mass to total fat mass, our goal is greater than 0.3. So what's good about these numbers is if you're looking at it, it's not just about what you're trying to get under, but really what your goal is on trying to get above for muscle mass. And your limbs fat mass to trunk fat mass should be over 1, where I am over 1 here. Now, the other thing that's really good about this scan is that it gives you a resting metabolic rate. So my resting metabolic rate should be 1,371 calories per day. This is the calories needed so that I do not lose muscle mass. Now think about all the people that try to go on these low calorie diets and they end up getting muscle wasting. So you really have to pay attention to the fact that you need to fuel your body correctly. Now, of course, this does not break down the calories that should be protein and such. And as we know, we need to push a lot more protein to build muscle mass. But this just shows you that people that are only thinking about calories are not meeting their metabolic goals. And then the relative skeletal muscle index, this really just shows how much muscle mass you have per kilogram per meter squared. And for women, it's above 5.5. For men, the goal is over 7, and I clearly exceeded the goals for both. So this is just to show you our goal is to not just lose fat, but it is to actually gain muscle.